Welcome students. In today's class, we are going to study about the Raoult's law of binary liquid mixtures. Let us take the liquid solutions. In the liquid solutions, we are having first one is liquid in liquid type. Let me take one example. In a beaker, I have taken some quantity of the benzene. When the benzene is present, some of the benzene molecules will be present above the surface and they are going to create some amount of pressure over the surface. Due to the vapors of the benzene, there will be existing an vapor pressure and that called as vapor pressure of the benzene. Similarly, one more solution I will take and toluene. Again, I will be having some quantity of the vapors of the toluene which are exerting the pressure on the surface which are called as vapor pressure of the toluene. Now, I will mix both the solvents, that is benzene and toluene. Then, the vapors which are formed will be mixture of both benzene and toluene. Then the pressure which is exerted on the surface is due to the benzene and toluene. It is a mixture of both the solvents. That is nothing but total vapor pressure is equal to partial vapor pressure of benzene plus partial vapor pressure of the toluene. This was explained by the Raoult's law. Raoult's law for partial vapor pressure of volatile liquids will be defined something like this. The partial vapor pressure of each component of the solution is directly proportional to its mole fraction present in the solution. Let me take one component and second component. So the partial vapor pressure of the first component was given by P1, whereas partial vapor pressure of the second component was given by P2. Then according to the Raoult's law, total partial pressure is sum of the partial pressure of both the components. But Henry's law, what does it say? Partial pressure is directly proportional to the mole fraction. So for the first solvent, P1 is directly proportional to X1 and for P2 it is directly proportional to X2. Or in other terms we can say that P1 is equal to P1 naught into X1 and P2 is equal to P2 naught X2, where P1 naught is partial vapor pressure of the pure component 1. That is given by vapor pressure of pure component 1, whereas P2 naught is pure vapor pressure of the component 2. So according to the Dalton's law of partial pressures, P total is equal to P1 plus P2, or we can also write like P total is equal to X1 P1 naught plus X2 P2 naught. This one we have taken from the according to the Raoult's law. A plot of the P1 or P2 versus the mole fraction X1 and X2 for a solution gives a linear plot always. Remember this one, when I have plotted the mole fraction versus vapor pressure. The mole fraction is of the two components. In the beginning I will take X1 is 100% and X2 is 0. And on the other side, as the percentage of X2, that is second component, will go on increasing, X2 will be equal to 1 and X1 will be equal to 0. You may ask why I have taken the values between 1 and 0. Because in the first class I have told you the total vapor pressure of the solution is always equal to 1. It will not cross the value of 1. Hence the maximum value for X1 is 1 and X2 is also 1 and the minimum is 0. So when I plot it, the P1 value, because in the beginning only one component was there, X1, and its vapor pressure was completely with respect to the X1. Hence, the P1 was maximum. And as the percentage of second component go on increasing, partial pressure of first component will be go on decreasing. On the other hand, as the percentage of first component decreased, second component increased, here the value of P2 will be going to be a maximum. And in the beginning, the value of partial pressure of second component was 0, and as the amount of second component increased, the partial pressure will also go on increasing, and it will reach maximum when X2, that is mole fraction of second component, is 1. Then P total will be ranges between P1 naught and P2 naught. Note down that mole fraction of component in vapor phase is determined using the formula P1 is equal to Y1P, that is total pressure, where Y1 is mole fraction of component 1 in vapor phase. Remember this one, it is in the vapor phase, not in the solution. X1 is in the solution, Y1 is in the vapor phase, and P1 is partial pressure of first component, and P total is total pressure. Based on the Raoult's law, we are categorizing solution is into two types. One is ideal solution, second one is non-ideal solution. According to the Raoult's law, P total is equal to X1 P1 naught plus X2 P2 naught. Based on that, we are having the two types. I have said ideal and non-ideal solution. So liquid solutions can be classified into those types mainly based on the Raoult's law. So what are ideal solutions? The solutions which obeys Raoult's law over the entire range of concentration. Remember, entire range of concentration. It should not deviate as the concentration will be varied. It is known as ideal solution. The properties of these ideal solutions are the enthalpy of mixing is equal to 0. That means when I mix both the solvents, it should not be endothermic, neither it should be exothermic. The volume of mixing also should be 0, because if they are having the intermolecular force of attraction or repulsion, the volume may expand or it may decrease. It should not happen for a solution which is going to be called as an ideal solution. Let us consider two liquids A and B. For A and B, whatever the interaction I am having between AA and BB should be same for even A and B. The intermolecular attractive force between the molecules in the solution are nearly equal to the intermolecular attractive force between the molecules in the individual components. Let us take some of the examples for the ideal solutions. Mixture of N-hexane and N-heptane. One more is mixture of benzene and toluene. On the other hand, we are having the non-ideal solution which does not obey the Raoult's law over the entire range of concentration, and it is defined as the solution which do not obey Raoult's law over the entire range of concentration. Examples: mixture of ethanol acetone, mixture of phenol aniline, mixture of ethanol water, mixture of concentrated HCl and concentrated HNO3. Many more you are going to get it. Let us see the difference between the non-ideal solution showing the positive and negative deviation. Consider two liquids A and A, B and B. Then if the interaction between them is different, where the molecules will be very far away from each other. That means the force of attraction is less. Whereas on the second case, the force of attraction is very high, so the molecule will be very close. Due to this reason, the non-ideal solutions will show two types of the deviations from the Raoult's law. If the interaction is very weak, it will show the positive deviation, and the interaction is very high, then it will show the negative deviation. Second one, the vapor pressure of the solution is more than that to be expected from the Raoult's law. Whereas in the negative deviation, it will be less than the expected from the Raoult's law. Due to which, the solution which shows a positive deviation will boil at the lower temperature. Whereas the solution which is having the negative deviation, it will boil at the higher temperature. You are already knowing what do you mean by the boiling point. Boiling point is a temperature at which vapor pressure will become equal to atmospheric pressure. So when you are having the vapor pressure more, the solution will boil at the lower temperature. Hence it will boil at the lower boiling point than the expected. And these solutions will form the azeotrophs. Azeotrophs are nothing but the solutions which are having same composition at both liquid and vapor phase. Next point is when you are mixing, then enthalpy of mixing is positive, whereas enthalpy of mixing is negative for the negative deviation. Similarly, when the interaction is very less, the intermolecular space will be more or intermolecular distance will be more, hence volume will increases. Whereas for delta mixing V for negative deviation is negative. Example for the positive deviations are CS2, that is carbon disulfide and acetone, and ethanol water. Whereas for negative deviation examples are phenol aniline and chloroform acetone. Let us solve one or two numericals. Vapor pressure of chloroform and dichloromethane at 298 Kelvin are 200 mmHg and 415 mmHg respectively. Calculate vapor pressure of solution prepared by mixing 25.5 gram of chloroform and 40 gram of dichloromethane at 98 Kelvin and mole fraction of each component in vapor phase. So let us see the solution. First one. According to the Raoult's law, P total is equal to x1 P1 naught plus x2 P2 naught. So x1 is equal to mole fraction of CH3 and x2 is mole fraction of CH2Cl2. P1 naught is equal to vapor pressure of chloroform in pure form, which is given as 200 mmHg, and P2 naught is equal to vapor pressure of dichloromethane, that is equal to 415 mmHg. So number of moles of CaCl3 we can calculate, that is equal to mass of chloroform divided by molecular mass of chloroform, that is equal to 25 divided by molecular mass of chloroform 12 plus 1 hydrogen 3 Cl, that is 35.5 into 3 equal to 25.5 divided by 119.5 is equal to 0.213. That is number of moles of chloroform. Number of moles of dichloromethane is equal to mass of DCM, that is dichloromethane, divided by molecular mass of DCM, that is equal to 40 divided by 85. You should know how to calculate the molecular mass of the any given component. That value will be equal to 0.47. Therefore, x1 is equal to n1 divided by n1 plus n2, mole fraction of chloroform, 0.213 divided by 0.213 plus 0.47, that is equal to 0.213 divided by 0.683 value equal to 0.31. What about x2? x2 directly I can calculate because x1 plus x2 is equal to 1. So x2 is equal to 1 minus x1. That is 1 minus 0.31 is equal to 0.69. Now let us calculate P total. Already I know the values. P total is equal to 0.31 into 200 plus 0.69 into 415. That is equal to 62 plus 286.35, 348.35 mmHg. Now mole fraction of chloroform in vapor phase. In some few slides back I have told the mole fraction in vapor phase and in the solution phase both will be different. Now here we are calculating mole fraction of chloroform in vapor phase. The formula is P1 is equal to Y1 into P total. So Y1 I want, so Y1 is equal to P1 divided by P total. But P1 value is P1 naught into X1. So P1 naught is equal to 0.31, X1 is 200 divided by 348.35 is equal to 0.18. So mole fraction of CH2Cl2 in vapor phase is equal to 0.18, and for the given DCM is 1 minus Y1 is equal to 1 minus 0.18 is equal to 0.82. Let us see the graphical representation of this non-ideal solution. We know already that non-ideal solution will show two types of the deviations. One is positive deviation, second one is negative deviation. So when the positive deviation is showing, the vapor pressure of the solution is more than the expected, whereas negative deviation it will be less than the expected. So using that I will take solution showing the positive deviation. So I will plot mole fraction versus vapor pressure. Already x1 naught, x2 naught, and x1 is equal to 1, x2 is equal to 1. As expected, now when I am having the x2 is equal to maximum, then the partial pressure of that second component will be more, and it will go on decreasing as the first component percentage will go on increasing. But since it is having the positive deviation, the vapor pressure will be slightly more than the expected. Whereas for the P1, again the expected line was given by the dotted, but due to positive deviation it is showing the upward, that is it is having the partial vapor pressure slightly more. And then P total, which is going to be expected from P2 to P1 naught, a straight line, but due to the positive deviation again it will be showing the more, hence vapor pressure of the solution will be more than that of the expected from the Rhodes law. Similarly, when I go for the negative deviation, with respect to mole fraction and vapor pressure, as the percentage of x1 go on increasing, the partial pressure of the first component will be maximum at this point. But what is the interaction? It is a negative deviation. Slowly. So slowly the pressure will be less than that of the expected from the first one, and it will go on decreasing. In the second case, the partial pressure for the components 2, that is P2, was expected to be a straight line, but due to the negative deviation it is going to show a slightly less. So what will happen to the total partial pressure? The partial pressure of the solution will also be decreased. By this we can make out that the partial pressure will be increasing or decreasing with respect to positive or negative deviations. Thank you.